A very good morning. Honorable Sri J. Ranjan ji, Honorable President IPTA Sri Ganesh ji, Honorable Vice President Mr. Sharma, the Program Committee Chairman, and Honorable the Secretary General IPTA. It's a profound privilege and pleasure for me to be here in this great event and present before you the keynote. I have heard Mr. Jayesh on a couple of occasions, maybe in the same venue, and it's a great privilege to share the dais with him. Thank you, sir. The inspiring presence of some industry stalwarts is really enthuses me to and makes me nervous to speak before you. But anyway, I'll try my best. We have had some wonderful papers you'll be hearing for the today and tomorrow, as Mr. Goyal mentioned, some very good papers on decarbonization, on greenhouse gas reductions, and some green manufacturing. So I'll be focused mainly on an overview of what green manufacturing in real terms would be. I would skip the core technologies, let it be for the technical experts who will be telling us these in coming 2 days. But I'll be focusing mainly on the overview, giving you a present status, what have been our achievements. When I mention we or our, I'm mentioning about the paper industry, Indian paper industry in general. What are our commitments towards green manufacturing, towards the green scope we are going to find, some long-term challenges, and of course, way forward approach. This is all taken from my learnings through visits to various leading plants in the country. So it's all learning. I'll be sharing, of course, without naming you. And if you think that it looks to be a road already traveled, keep wearing the cap, inspire the others to follow through. Green is so fascinating. You know, lately green has become the buzzword. Right from soaps and detergents to refrigerators and washing machines, everything is turning green. Earlier, you know, green, what I used to know, was going green means being envious. Yeah, you pursue some envy towards somebody, feeling jealous. That was, you know, you have a green eye. But now the green has totally changed, the green concept. Right from products to various processes, everything is green. IGBC propagates green buildings. The railway introduced green toilets. The government introduces green bonds towards green energy to make industry green. So green is the buzzword, you know. The doctors prescribe green diets to make our lives green. So I don't know what this is going to end up to, is green. I won't be surprised that in future, you know, we might have green babies taking birth. I would say that even in Bhagavad Gita, there is a mention of green concept. Mayadhyakshen prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetu nanen kaunteya jagatvi parivartate. Of course, Lord meant, but we let the human community protect the environment for their own survival and the biodiversity around. Environment is not to take or leave, it is for us to make. That is the gist of this shloka, chapter 9, verse 10. So I thought I'll just mention it. Now, what are our commitments? Long-term low-emission development strategy, our Honorable Prime Minister, he has committed in COP26 that India would be net zero emission by 2070. He has also committed to increase the non-fossil fuel energy capacity to 500 gigawatts by 2030 meet 50% of the energy requirement through renewable sources by 2030, and reduce carbon emission by 1 billion tons by 2030. That is the commitment. And as we know him, एक बार उन्होंने commitment कर दी तो वो अपनी भी नहीं सुनते, right? So what is our role as the paper industry? Are we going to contribute our bit in these national commitments that we have made to the world leaders, you know? Definitely. We need to strive hard to fulfill these commitments and play our part. Are we ready? Oh, such a cool response. Are we ready? Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Now, what has been the road traveled so far? I remember the earlier days when we started off, our vision was confined to measuring BOD, COD, TSS in the effluent, and SPM in the stacks. That was the limitation, you know, we started off with. Okay. Then came in CREP, and you know, the industry got a jolt. You know, we woke up and lived up to the expectation. There was heaps and heaps of lime mud lying around even when I joined the paper industry. So from that, you know, we have shifted from lime mud to lime kilns that manufacture of precipitated calcium carbonate to even cement. Even cement we make in our paper plants and market it. As far as the water consumption is concerned, we started off on a criminal note of 250 plus kiloliters per ton of product. And then we are talking of 30 and below. And even water positive. There are Indian plants, you know, were water positive for many, many years. So that is a big achievement. Bleaching sequence started off with chlorine, and then gradually shifting to chlorine dioxide, hydrogen peroxide, oxygen, and ozone. So we have made good progress, we as a paper industry. So I think we should pat your back for that great effort that you have already made. But like yesterday we were talking about, despite the good efforts done, despite some good progress made, and despite some green bottom lines on our financial balance sheet, we still have some issues, you know, lingering around our minds, you know. You meet anybody of your paper industry, some or the other problem comes up. Say raw material issue. Ab raw material kahan mil raha hai abhi? Raw material prices have gone skyrocketed. Environmental regulations, killing us, you know, these environmental regulations, so tough to. Then came Corona, then came the Ukraine war, Ukraine-Russia war. So we have some or the other issue. We always talk of some problems all the time instead of having some positive this thing. And that is why probably there is still a myth around the common minds that paper is polluting. So I think we should move over to that positivity that, you know, we have done some good work towards making paper a very biologically sustainable product. Then, you know, at times, you know, you heard, sir, manpower kahan hai? सब कुछ ठीक चल रहा है लेकिन there is no proper manpower. Manpower ही नहीं मिल रही है चंद्राना जी, आप जैसी. So that is how, you know, we have progressed. So pat your back for that matter. Now what I am going to do, I am going to just give you a brief preview of what some of the good mills have done. So I have defined this approach, which I am sure, you know, if followed in true spirit and soul, it will definitely work towards making us greener. Inculcate green culture. It may sound very simple, green culture. But green culture, what I mean is involvement of every employee. No separate environmental cell or sustainability department. Every individual of the company needs to be a green captain. He should be able to, you decide anybody and he should be able to tell you the company's vision on being green and how we are doing that, In one of the companies where I had to visit in connection with Greenco, I just casually asked, can I speak to some shop floor person? And my asking that totally changed that scenario. All the officers who were explaining that green efforts and sustainability, they moved away, and the shop floor people took over. And the way they showed the enthusiasm, everybody is crowding around to say what he is done for his plant or his section towards a green effort, And green culture, what I want to take it a way forward is the green index or the happiness index of the particular employee. Green is not only confined to regulation, compliance, or reducing your energy consumption or water. It's, how your people feel in that green atmosphere. So that even happiness index would be, I think, included in the green culture, what I'm talking about. Then clean production. Of course, clean production would be your air emissions, solid waste management, energy use, BOD, COD, all that is fine. But energy efficiency, I want to see, we need to benchmark. I have some data as disclosed by the some wood-based paper plants that a global average of 1,000 to 1,100 kWh per ton of electricity against our Indian norms or average of 1,400 to 1,500. Similarly, steam ton per ton global is 7 to 9, ours is 12 to 13. That is an average I am talking about. Of course, there are few mills who fall under the global range already. And it's very heartening to note that in the last 3 years, the specific energy consumptions have been brought down by electrical by 13.5% and steam by 16%. So this is good work being done. This is maybe not applicable to all, but this is the trend which can be achievable. So I would appeal to rest of the people, interact with the people who have already achieved this and go ahead towards the green path. Water conservation, recycle, reuse and reduce, that we are doing in a great way. That is how our plants are water positive now, few plants. Even RRR concept, there has been a movie made that has made news in the Oscar Awards. So keep doing that RRR thing. Then show the regulatory compliance. Nothing to elaborate on that, but not a single instance, there were some leverage, but no, not a single leverage on single instance of non-compliance on this part. Embrace digital. I have seen some plants using this digital technology, artificial intelligence and IoT in a huge way. So a very better way for the real-time data, and they have done wonders. So it looks paradoxical that I say that go digital, but digital, I mean paper and digital doesn't go together maybe, but go digital in the process, in the environmental control for better efficiency. Think renewable to reduce the carbon footprints. Carbon footprints, the more renewable you use, the lower the carbon footprints. Now, greenhouse gases, main thing is, few mills have started already, but the inventorization of greenhouse gases is important. We need to inventorize first and then to reduce. Particularly scope 1 and 2 is fine, but scope 3, where, we make consideration to the travel and the transportation, that is a very tricky thing to assess. So even like, we all attending this seminar, that has led to some greenhouse gases emission traveling to this venue, right? I would like to cite an example. A mill in Gujarat, they have brought out a very innovative approach. They have introduced cycles for transporting their employees from the factory to the colony during lunch hours and otherwise. E-rickshaw is separate, but that cycling, small thing, a very small effort, but see the benefits. That shows companies' commitment that you are committed towards reduction of greenhouse gases, and of course health issue. You cycle and exercise. So that is the smallest thing we need to take into consideration. Look beyond the fence, green supply chain and life cycle aspects. We all know. I would like to just mention, to be brief, like to mention the WOW effort. Beyond the fence means like FSC, forest certification, that we have, Forest Certification Council. Similarly, for every supply, every vendor, and every customer, you need to take care for circulatory effect. Show social responsibility in your vicinity. Promote certification and green image. This we need to promote. The certification is not only adding a feather to your cap, but the regular audits and all that makes you aware of where you can make still better progress. Be open and transparent in green reporting for our annual reports. Simple, but be open if you want to have that leadership or commitment towards green manufacturing. We should be transparent in that. And lastly, green environment service to your customer in terms of training them, in terms of hand-holding them for their coming forward across the total life cycle of the product. The last slide, a peep into the future. These are the headlines, which got into this thing. Toscotec and Essity, they are two tissue makers in the world who have switched to hydrogen for their hood. Maybe many of you must be aware, visited maybe these plants, but hydrogen is the thing in the future for this thing. And Government of India has set aside rupees 19,700 crore towards green hydrogen. Then a Brazilian company, Brazil, they have introduced electric trucks for transporting their pulp. And it is estimated that 132,000 kg of CO2 per year per truck will be saved. Shioda University and Nippon Steel, they have, from collected CO2, they have been able to make P-xylene, which is used for resin making. So I would urge on the chemical suppliers, come out with such innovative this thing towards green. That would be fine. A word of caution, or maybe I may sound a bit harsh. Visualize your paper plants operating without a coal-fired boiler in times to come. Maybe in few years from now, you would not get any coal. Say it would be banned, or you would stop. I know many people have worked towards biofuels, and our renewable resources. A company has made up to 70% on renewable, that is the consumption. That's a wonderful achievement. But imagine your plant operating without a coal-fired boiler. There are cases. And of course, paper is an earth-friendly, uniquely renewable and sustainable product. But there is still a myth going around, that, go paperless, save trees, which is not a fact. So let us jointly remove this myth from the common minds that, paper is polluting. So I thought, skipping all the real hardcore technologies, I should mention about this approach, which few mills have successfully adopted, and rest can follow through. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. And in 2 days, I make an appeal. 2 days, there are people who have done wonderful jobs. Please interact, learn, and let us make jointly paper industry greener. Thank you. Supreme is the creator of the environment.